I feel like I haven't seen Jesse Eisenberg in anything in quite some time. I think the last big role of his that I saw was Lex Luthor, and he's an actor I've always liked. The Social Network is one of my all-time favorite movies. So when I heard that he's releasing a brand new movie that he wrote, directed, and starred in, I was really excited. But is A Real Pain worth watching? The story on the surface is really simple. These two cousins, David and Benji, go on a Holocaust tour in Poland to learn more about their heritage and visit the places where their grandmother lived who just recently passed away. And that pretty much is the whole story from a plot perspective. But the movie is able to use that framework to tell incredibly detailed and profound character stories. Benji and David are the anchor of this movie, and both characters have compelling stories. Benji is not doing okay. He was really close with his grandma, and now that she's gone, he's really struggling with loneliness. And his emotional instability is the catalyst for a lot of this film's drama. This group of characters could be doing something simple like riding a train or having dinner together, and then he would go from his normal fun self to an emotional wreck. It's in these episodes where we really see what's eating at Benji. Despite him being an incredibly charming, charismatic, and likable person, these mood shifts drive people away. He has all this pain built up inside of him with no real healthy way to deal with it. He just throws it out there for everyone. And the different things we learn about his character and his past relationship with his grandmother further help to paint this picture of a mess of a man with no real coping mechanisms. And I was absolutely blown away by Kieran Culkin's performance. He really stole the show on so many occasions. He throws in so much humor and personality, but he's also excellent in the more dramatic moments. Benji is this movie's emotional center, and so was Kieran's performance. And as of now, he's by far my favorite choice for Best Supporting Actor this year. But while Benji is the more noticeable character, there is certainly a lot to be said about David. We don't learn nearly as much about him, but that's really more of a character trait. He's much more reserved and less forthcoming with his emotions and thoughts. But still, David has a really well-told character arc of learning to not tamper down his emotions and to be more expressive with his feelings. Over the course of the story, we the audience see how Benji has affected David both positively and negatively. And as David becomes more and more honest, it helps both of them grow a better sense of understanding with each other. And Jesse Eisenberg is great. It's not a show-stopping, award-worthy performance or anything, but he really manages to bring David to life. He really captures that nervous energy very well, especially in the more emotional scenes. Where A Real Pain shines is in its central theme. At its core, this movie is about, you guessed it, pain, and how different people deal with their pain. Benji is very expressive and wishes the whole world could be as open with their pain as he is, while David hides his pain and tries to forget about it. And then the other characters on this tour feature a spectrum of dealing with pain, which, speaking of, these characters are kinda mid. They're mostly fine, but a lot of their conversations and dialogue feels off. When we first meet them all, it's an awkward scene where they go around the table and explain in depth why they're on the Holocaust tour. It's like a 3 to 4 minute scene. They go pretty far in depth. It reminds me of that one awful scene in Rebel Moon Part 2, where all the characters go one by one and explain why they hate the Empire or whatever the villains in that movie were called. It's not that bad. Nothing is that bad, but the scene still felt pretty awkward. And a lot of the conversations this group had throughout the film also felt pretty awkward. It just really caught me off guard a couple of times. Jesse Eisenberg's directing isn't the most flashy thing in the world. It's very simple with basic camera movements, but there are some moments where he's able to capture some pretty powerful imagery, especially when the tour group visited the concentration camp. There are so many shots within that sequence that left me speechless, and the cinematography is very colorful and does a good job of capturing the beautiful sights and settings within Poland. Something that really surprised me with this film was the editing and score. A solid percentage of A Real Pain is just random shots of Poland edited together with some nice piano music. And while you could argue that these scenes were pointless, I would say they actually do a good job at setting the tone for the different parts of the movie. The last thing I want to say about A Real Pain is that there was one really strange scene that got even more weird the more I thought about it. After the boys get to their hotel room, Benji says David has nice feet. That moment by itself is really strange, but then I remembered that Jesse Eisenberg wrote this movie. So he wrote a scene where someone tells him that he has nice feet. Listen, Jesse, if you wanted a page on Wiki Feet, I'm sure you could have just asked someone to make one for you. You didn't have to do this, man. A Real Pain is a fantastic movie full of emotion, humor, solid filmmaking, and a weird foot moment. So it's getting an 8 out of 10, and it's definitely worth watching. If you enjoyed this review, why not hit that subscribe button and leave a like? Make sure to check out the newest video over on the main channel, and stay tuned for more reviews here.